Oh my nose. Good morning, everyone. So today we're going to be working on Bullet to start with. We left off working on them yesterday, so we're just going to try to finish up the hand here. Um, and then I think we're just kind of polishing after that. We have a little bit of work here to make that. We're going to redo our leg here, which actually should be pretty easy. I'm going to go ahead and save a copy. We'll call this HP model. Save. We're going to swap out the leg for basically this right here because I don't really like the square look. I like this kind of rounded look. I think that looks quite a bit nicer. So we're gonna do that, and let's see a little look. See what where the hand's at. So the hand, we do have these claws. It is a little nebulous on how things attach directly, so I think we're gonna have to kind of just make that up a little bit. Either something like that. Then we're going to do a ball joint. That makes the most sense. So let's put our cursor right in the middle here, open up our make menu, and we're going to drop in a UV sphere. Actually, no, not a UV sphere. We're going to drop in a cube, which we'll subdivide into a sphere. Why a cube? Because cubes are easy to unwrap. In fact, this one's already unwrapped. Cheating, basically. Cheating. So we'll do something like that. We'll just fill up this whole little section. We'll do one more subdivision. How much is that? Stats wise. Hello, Namrose. Good morning. Good morning. How you doing today? We'll do two. And apply that. Shift Alt S to ensure it is actually a sphere. If you're editing, do island border, mark seam, just because it's that way it's just ready to go. All right, good stuff. Now, how's it going? It is going well. It's going well. We're working on Bullet today. Our transformer. They're coming out super well. We're gonna probably be done with most of the high poly modeling today. I don't think there's too much more to do, which is exciting. And then it's retopology, which will be a lot of work. Then it's retopology time. But we're getting there. Somehow completely missed it all about. No worries at all. I've been working on them kind of on and off. So I would say uh, some of the other avatars have been taking up more time. 3, 4. I'm doing that so that way I can line up where these should go. They look super professional. Well, thanks. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I did see that you sent the work, so I'll have to check that out soon. Super appreciate you taking the time to put that together. I will probably have a few more tasks for you very soon. But how's your day been, Namorous? What have you been up to? Sorry to sniffle there. So yeah, we'll just take this section here. Let's take half of this sphere, duplicate, separate, and then kind of take the border, move it in a bit, steal these. A little wobbly. But I think that'll work. That'll give us a nice, like a attachment point for the hand. Super excited by what Dandy's been sending. I'll have to, if they're getting stressed out at all or need some help, please have them reach out to me. I know that their instinct may be to not do that because that's the artist way. But please have them reach out if they need anything at all. I just feel like I'm kind of a little removed from the process right now, but I'd be happy to jump in and to help out in any way I can. Or just start modeling and they can focus on the clothing. Whatever, whichever. But I'm excited. It's looking super good. Can't wait to be showing them off. We'll do, yeah, they're not really sure how much each person is going to do yet. Well, they're working on it right now. Hey, we're good. We'll tell them I say hi. Yeah, things are coming together. I'm very excited. Coming together. We'll love your input and we'd love to discuss it more when you have time. Dan says hello, lol. Hi, Danny. Well, good. Yeah, I think I'll probably try to at least send some messages at lunch. Maybe we should plan for, I don't know, doing like a meeting sometime soon, just so we can make sure we're all on the same page and stuff. I don't want to feel like y'all are in the dark or something because I realized I kind of started. We kind of started this project and then I've just been working the whole time, so I just want able to feel thrust into it. That looks cool. We're going to actually switch some of these parts now to the blue. Like there's like it's like a blue gray, like this one here. Because we'll need to bake these differences eventually. Like this, 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 this. Sure, all this stuff right here. Do that. So that's going to be a separate material in the long run. In the long run. Cool. Very cool. Very cool stuff. Okay. We're getting there. We're getting there. The hand. Is there anything else I want to add? I guess the there's like knuckles. So let's add those knuckles in. I think we'll just steal this edge right here and separate it. I'm lazy and it's easy. I like them looking a little bit thinner. Let's do that. And then we'll use our relations to snap it there. So I can duplicate it using the same method as before for the claw. Snap it to each finger because I'm lazy and I don't want to. Well, I guess I do have to do this by hand. I take it back. I take it back. I declare bankruptcy. These are not spaced very nicely. Hands might be a little big. All right. Good stuff. Not too worried about this one. Let's scooch this out. I don't need a knuckle for the thumb, I think. Right. Cool. Much cleaner. Okay. Can we go ahead and stop there? For the hand. Look fucking dope. Okay. Now we're going to save another copy, which we're going to call 3-leg swap. So I'm going to delete this. I don't like it. And I'm going to take these ones here, duplicate. Switch to global. I think right about there. Then we'll take the top here. All right, and then there should be a dark gray. And another white stripe here. And that's looking pretty cool now. Then I guess just one other type of dark gray. Hello, Arctic. Good morning. we should do the joints. I guess there's a helmet and then there's these thinner stripes here, so we'll have to switch that up. Oh, and then this, of course. With the extrusions, they'll need a custom material as well. It's a little mushy right here. Let me make those a little bit sharper. Oh, some nice colors laid in. Well, there should be a little cap on the head. I guess we're missing that now. There we go. And this guy goes here. Cool. But, excuse me. Oh, I'm sleepy. And we're getting there. It is looking pretty sharp now, I would say. Hmm, that looks really bad. Um, what's going on in here? Weird, weird spots. How am I getting extra verts here? It's gonna turn out awesome. Thank you, Nammers. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the final result. Going to do anything fancy with them in Unity. So far, the client has just requested just the body, so there's nothing crazy planned yet. Yet, suppose you never know. You never know. Being smooth, it's because this doesn't have a limit. I definitely never know. Take the middle here, and we'll give it this darker material. Oh, sorry. I guess I could just do that manually. Think we're doing all right. Hello, Eventide. Been working on him for a little while. It's coming out pretty good. How's your day going? Never thought about it, but hard surface only needs high poly for damage and textures though, because the model doesn't actually change. Well, you'll still want to bake. And like if you make a box and you make it real thin and you shade it smooth, the normals don't like being smooth. But you do want to use smooth normals because hard edges don't always look super good. Even like for example, this front piece has a slight curve. Like if I did flat shading, it would look odd. Excuse me. A simple subdivision here. Just the edge is a little bit sharper. And you'll want ambient occlusion and the bevel. So the bevel you'll want to bake in right here and stuff. All of these edges have a slight bevel, and I want to bake those. I want to bake those. That looks real crunchy right there. I think I'm going to redo this whole little hip area. We'll try to curve that later. Really hope the client asks for an animal with a robot transformed to a bunny jet or a snow leopard jet. That would be an interesting commission. I feel like I'd have to very, very I'd have to consider how you would even approach that very, very carefully, because that would be a tricky one. That would be a tricky one. And we'll do a lighter metal for this one. All right, coming together. Coming together. But there's a way, the controls that have to change the Abby Mesh transforms, but I have no idea VRC handles that. There's a way to do it in Unity with player controller, but does Udon even have that? So Udon is a little deceptive. Udon is only the logic for the world. Udon does not do anything to the player. Besides, like you could do stuff in game, but you can't take that logic that you make for the game and put it onto an avatar. Not yet, at least. Maybe eventually, but I'm honestly a little disappointed they haven't done anything like that yet. But with avatar dynamics and the animator, you could probably do something similar with constraints, but unfortunately, because there's no Udon, it's not as direct as just like programming logic for things, which is just frustrating, really. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand why. I have some gripes with VRChat. I do have some very direct gripes with VRChat about how they've decided to do things. If anyone's ever played Resonite or knows of Resonite, that one is super fascinating because you really can just do whatever the heck you want. I don't need another color. I've seen Resonite. It is not user-friendly. It'll get that way over time. It'll get better over time because people will build better tools. At least that's the hope. But I have a lot more. I think that whatever the future of virtual reality is, it's going to look a lot more like Resonite than it is going to look like VRChat. Whether or not Resonite is that future, time will tell. But I do think that the ability, just the flexibility to like immediately copy paste images, bring in YouTube links, do whatever the fuck you want in real time with your buddies is super, super compelling. It's amazing, honestly. There is really nothing else like that. It was like trying to see people on sell people on using Linux. Oh yeah, 100%. I don't disagree with that. I think that it's going to take a lot of work from the community to make it more accessible. But I do think in the long run, whatever the future of VR looks like, it's going to look a lot more like Resonate than it will anything else. You can do anything you want. You can. You can. I mean, it's not just that you can do anything you want. You can do anything you want in real time in multiplayer. Like, I don't think that there's nothing else that does that. You can make programs in real time with your friends. Like, I think that it may be ahead of the curve, but it is going to be what people want eventually. Because the future of games is not making better games for people; it's letting people make games. And then we can just roll it up. There we go. Right. Is the package system live or still in development? That is live. That is live. A few VRChat creators have already converted their avatars over. I'd say performance-wise, Resonite's still lacking though, because I was jumping in earlier today, and it's just laggy. It's just really laggy. I don't know how that's not just like the #1 focus right now on Resonite, because I think it is. I think people are working on it. Let me be a little less severe, but I do think that that will be the #1 thing that holds people back from adoption, is when they turn it on and it just feels bad. You have to dedicate 20 hours to learn how to put things together inside the engine. If they made a bridge to Unity UI, I bet a lot of people jump into Resonite. So I see you mean. It does feel insanely good once you get what you're doing. Can do commissions. Hello, Sonic Memes. I am working on a commission right now. If you're interested, I'm going to go ahead and drop my stuff. But anyone that's interested in a commission can always head to samdutter.com. But here's my commission info, Sonic. Do you need to download something like Unity to use it, or is there an SDK for it like VRC, how to build avatar package, OG? Everything for Resonite is within Resonite. There is no other system. So when you want to do something in Resonite, you just drag and drop your 3D model into Resonite, and it'll pull it into the world. And then they have like a little in-world avatar setup for it, which is super, super fascinating. And they have every Sunday, there is a creator jam. So if you want to learn how to set up an avatar, I'd probably recommend either looking up a YouTube tutorial, of course, or going to the jam on Sundays and just asking people to help you. I believe actually there is a GitHub to exchange it. Super interested in knowing how you finished the D&D lizard. You said it could change heads and alter proportions all on its own. Love to see how you placed the UV on that. We've still a lot more work. We'll be working on that dragon later today. So no 2D UI to construct the avatars. You can work in desktop mode, but there is everything's within the 3D world. That being said, you can make your own interface in Vrchat. You can make your own UI. In fact, some creators are making like when the package thing, they're making their own custom. So when you drag and drop in your package, it'll open up like options to add things and tweak things and set up the protection system, which, you know, Vrchat actually has an avatar protection system. Vrchat. Come on, Vrchat. Get it together. Straight up Linux mentality. Yeah, absolutely. But you don't have to wait on a development team to make the decisions for you. Let's just check out the price. Thing would be homeless if I buy one of those. Well, there is a very large commission avatar artist community, so I think if you're looking for a commission, you will be able to find one. The reason I couldn't get it with Neos is because when I drag and drop things into the window, it ended up at an angle, and I had no way to rotate the window, so I really struggled to see what the heck I was doing. Trying to crawl under my menus and look up at them was frustrating. It's still somewhat like that, so I think that but I'll probably be doing some more stuff in Vrchat moving forward, because I think it's perfect for D&D, because you can treat it like a board game, and you can always drag and drop stuff in, etc., yada yada. Absolutely amazing for D&D. So I'll be doing more stuff in there eventually, and when I'm back in, you're always welcome to hop in, and I'll show you the ropes. Vrchat, be told what to do, how to do it, and you'll be happy with it. Exactly. I think for me, Vrchat feels much more like what a VR internet should feel like, not necessarily a VR game. It feels like if you imagined what the internet would be like in VR, that's what Vrchat's like. It's a little bit less like a game. It's more like you have a browser and you can do things. You can make your own programs. You can make your own scripts in that browser, as you could with Chrome or whatever. That's not for everyone, but you have that. Vrchat and Vrchat are for different types of crowds, some overlap. Wouldn't say one is better than the other, just they serve different user bases. I do think there are some definite advantages Vrchat has. I don't know if doing absolutely everything in VR is the way to go, because working on a desktop still has huge advantages. Like, I'm not making my models in VR. I'm making on my desktop because it's just easier to use. But like eventually, long term, it'll probably long term, in the super long term, VR chat needs things like being able to bring in items and things like that. Like that is definitely a big part of it. No normie will ever touch it until it is user friendly. And without normies, it can't grow. I disagree because, like, for me, what I want to do is make do D&D in Resonite, and I want to bring people in to do Resonite, and they don't have to know how it works, right? It's kind of up. I think creators will have just so much more freedom. There's a really great video by Fia, if you're familiar with Fia. There's Fia and Thrill Seeker. They do a lot of YouTube videos. And she did a great video on Resonite. Definitely worth checking out if you're interested, because it gives you a much better insight into what's possible, which is anything. I mean, do you really think that VR chat's that much better? You have to learn Unity, you have to learn Blender. You're like you can't, like, if I want to do stuff to make, like, VR chat's really not much better in terms of user friendliness. Like, I don't really see that as, in fact, Resonite is better user friendliness, because if you and I wanted to learn something together, all we have to do is hop into Resonite together. For VR chat, it's like, oh, download this, download that. You have to learn these skills. You have to learn how to export, import. It's like, I don't think the user friendliness argument really makes a big difference in the sense of, like, learning how to use something. Like, if you want to do stuff in VR chat, if you want to make stuff for VR chat, it is just as complex or more complex. In Resonite, if you're just a user, you don't need to learn anything. If you're a creator, then it's about the same. If you want mass adoption, you need to make the first step easy. Even with how VRC avatar uploading is, people still mess it up. Broke my first avatar I tried uploading because I just had no clue. And the tutorials I watched weren't the right ones. We're describing it, yeah, but you've got to put all the work in. Then again, you could sell that package to let people create their own in-game economy. We know for Resonite, you need to learn everything you need for VRC plus the Resonite engine. Maybe you replace learning Unity for the Resonite engine. Well, that's what I'm saying. But in Unity, you have to know you still have to learn all this stuff for Unity, for VR chat. It's just the same with Resonite. It's pretty much 100% the same. The moment for VRC, you just download VCC, you walk through getting Unity, then you just drag and drop your avatar package and you're good to go. Unless you encounter a problem, and then you're just back to square one. I think that in the long run, in the scope of things, it is roughly the same. And it'll get a lot more. I do think I feel pretty strongly that it is going to improve, and that VR chat, on the other hand, is limited in how much it can improve. And VR chat itself is kind of painting itself into a corner with the kind of features it can add, with the kind of things it can offer. Trying to get us into Resonite. I'll be in Resonite for sure, because I see a lot of opportunity, much more opportunity in that space than I see in VR chat. Here's a good thing, and this is what I'll be talking about a lot. It's like, if I wanted to put together a Dungeons and Dragons campaign for my buddies, in VR chat, I have to upload all these worlds, I have to make all this logic and stuff. But in Resonite, I can literally just copy and paste assets from the internet into Resonite in real time and just treat it kind of like a board game. Whereas in VR chat, you don't have that flexibility. Like, I think there is nothing like that in VR chat. You got to go completely out of VR chat, upload a whole new world, I don't think that, and there's no item system for VR chat. Chill Out VR has more of an advantage than VR chat when it comes to that. Copy paste feature that accepts all formats is insane. Until you're really experiencing that, I don't think it really doesn't. That was like, that is just what the internet of the future will be like. Is it's going to look a lot like Resonate. Again, maybe Resonate doesn't do it, but the features, the kinds of things that it's pushing, will be what the future is like at some point. Whether or not Resonate is the one that does it. I would like it to be Resonate, because they have the correct mindset to make it happen, the correct perspective. But only time will tell. And hopefully I'll have some streams soon to kind of show you guys the ropes a little bit better. Resonate tool to emulate a 2D workspace in the 3D viewport for avatar setup when? I'll ask around. I think maybe there is one already. Because of course a lot of people in Resonate were coming from VR chat, so I do think they have that kind of perspective on workflows. Actually, there was a really fun video. With everything you're saying, it doesn't look like the future of VR online. It does look like the future of VR in space, but the barrier of entry is just too high. I disagree, because what you're saying is that you need to learn these things, and I'm saying that you don't need to learn those things. It's just like VR chat, right? It's like, if you want to learn how to do all these crazy things, make these things, then yes, you do have to learn that, and that's just as complex as learning VR chat stuff. But the average person in VR chat isn't learning those things. So if you just want to be a consumer in Resonate, you have that option. If you want to be a creator, then you have to learn it. I don't think that's any different. Right? Like, that doesn't. It's only if you want to be a creator that you need to learn all that stuff for Resonate. Otherwise, you're just floating around doing exactly what you do in VR chat. Like, there's no requirement to learn it. You know, again, the D&D analogy, if I wanted to bring my buddies in, then I just and then as a creator, I can make stuff complex if I wanted to. Doesn't it only attract creators? Maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way. I mean, in the beginning, VR chat only attracted creators. That's how it starts. You need the creators to make the stuff, and then the stuff brings in the normies. Normies is a strong word. Why would someone choose Rezo over VRC? Right now, there is a lot less content in Resonate, for sure. It will attract a different crowd at first. I want to start trying to bring in people that want to do. I want to start bringing people who want to do D&D into Resonate specifically, because I think that once you see what you can do, and once you understand how flexible it is, then like, role playing is super easy in Resonate compared to VR chat, because you can do anything. You know, there are the limits not just that you can do anything. You can do anything in VRChat too. You oot on it or whatever, but you can do it right then and there. You can make those changes. And I think that, especially for the role-playing community, it's going to attract a lot of people who are more in the role-play crowd. And then once they get good, then they can bring in people who don't have that experience and just guide them through them. D&D stuff we did in Resonate is actually my first D&D experience. Really funny. Was it your first role-playing experience, though, in terms of games? Definitely not. Okay. Okay. Then I think long term it will be the platform for that kind of stuff. And what's another super interesting thing that I've been seeing, again, this is more the creator crowd, but there's whole YouTube channels that make a living making content in Resonate because they can bring in people who don't know anything about Resonate and like run them through these like funny situations. There's like a haunted house or something that they made. It's super cool. And the eyes are much more square, like little rectangles. Little rectangles. Say like this: person have zero coding, modeling, XP, and you drop in Resonate, would they be locked out of content or experiences? Not experiences, just the creation content. There's tons of things to do in Resonate. It's like bowling alleys, there's movie theaters, there's whole animations you can walk through, which are pretty cool. So I don't think the content aspect is not, that's just a lack of time and a more reflection of a smaller community and a lack of time that it's been around than I think the ability for people to get in and do stuff. Hello, Australia Zero. It's time to learn. You don't need XP to make stuff. Just spend a little bit of time on it. 9,000% worth and funny. Hello, Australia. Welcome. I do think it's worth it, but of course I'm a little biased because I like it so much. To be honest, if I had to choose to start from zero, I'd choose Resonate just because it's not overpopulated. Well, there's certainly some benefits there. It's good to have a platform with a lot of people. That is the goal for any platform in the long run. But certainly VRChat encounters some issues with that. Well, either way, regardless of which one's easier to pick up or not, I do want to be doing some D&D in Resonate with chat with everyone at some point. So I think just keep an eye out for that, y'all. We'll be in there eventually doing some fun stuff. As a stream, at least. So I'd love to bring people into, because I want to do D&D where like chat is the like monsters, or like chat people could come in and play as like a little goblin or something that the players are fighting. I think that'd be really fun. I literally think about this too much because I love it too much. It consumes me. Let's actually add a shrink wrap to the comment. Perfect. We'll do a little bit of offset. I think that's better. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Squeakers. Here's how Sam's first step would look like. How was he fighting with the cube? In VR chat, I made a skeleton guy. Made a little comic world at some point. Just like Linux, since it's creator focused for now, it only attracts people like that, which is ironic, but is good for now, I guess. Well, the one thing about Linux, it's kind of an interesting comparison, is that it's in an insane amount of devices. It is a little bit more ubiquitous than I thought. So I think the commercial, in terms of like commercial applications, Resonite actually has a huge opportunity there because their system allows for businesses to make a lot of really interesting things. Apparently, it's already being used in healthcare in some places, which blew my mind. I don't know exactly what they're doing there, but like, look around, like, what? I have a kid almost 1/10 of my age trying to friend me. No thanks. Just like Linux, since it's creator focused for now. I want to climb a tree, rolling one, you fall from it before you put one step on it, your leg is broken, and you got poisoned. He was left with 1 HP, and then the tree falls on you. Anyway, you can probably tell I'm a little passionate about it. I am very passionate about VR in general, and I do think that VR chat. I'm still incredibly disappointed in VR chat on some levels because they don't have a storefront, and it's literally been about 10 years of them saying they're going to make a store, and creators are still waiting. Like I don't really. They just have kind of dropped. They seem to really lack a long-term vision, and in moving towards that. Hello, Goo. I'd like to not put Linux anywhere close to the same learning bracket as Resonite. Hey there, Goo. Give you this on Resonite. You can make world, make items, and get your health bar, weapons, damage, all transfer world to world, which could make the most amazing metaverse. Exactly. Time for questions. As part of your editing, have decal around borders. How to deform without destroying the shape of this border decal? So the edge here is this geometry node here. So I've created a little geonode system. So it's a little complex, but basically it just looks for the edges, deletes everything else, creates a curve on those edges with a little this little curve right here, and then joins it back in. So it's the coolest stuff in Blender and also the hardest to learn. There's just a lot to it, but it is very cool. Like there really is just a ton you can do with it. Should make character look a little bit more upset, I think. And I kind of want to make these little eye things. I like that. Make the eyes a little bit bigger. Really afraid of those nodes. Reso seems like a couple horizons away. Well, again, my hope is to, I think, as a creator with a community and trying to build a community, my goal would be to bring people in to have an experience where they don't need to create things. They can just be a part of the experience. And I think Resonite's the only thing that really allows for that, where we can make these really complex things, create things that change on the fly, and just have really fully flexible digital experiences. Think of it more like if we were LARPing IRL. I think that's kind of what I want it to be like. I think nodes are more interesting than coding. They're pretty much the same thing. It's just visual coding. Mostly I'm importing outfits from different avatars because creators ignoring my avatar base. Some of those border decal, what is really annoying to not lose shape. I think nodes more interesting. There's a lot of overlap between the two. A lot of similar thought processes. Only when you see as many tuts on Reso as in VRC will people get into it, though. I'm not saying it's going to be overnight. I'm just saying that it has more potential than VRChat. And in the long run, and again, VRChat's still hard to learn. Like, if you want to create things in VRChat, it's still really hard. Like, and Resonite can make that easier. So could VRChat. Like, I don't see that comparison. If you want to make stuff, then it is just as challenging for both. In terms of just coming in to a platform and being able to consume content, I think it's pretty much the same. VRChat just has more content right now because they have been around for longer. But if you want to make content, it still sucks just as much. Equal suckage for making content. Except that if I wanted to make stuff with you, we could all hop in Resonite and I could literally be standing next to you teaching you how to do stuff. VRChat, with how they've built it, can literally never have that. Should I have mirror? I like creating stuff in VR. Second thing is community. If there's no people, I'm not interested. I would say even give Resonite a look at it. It's good judgment. Links to the high entry bar because the initial programming you have to do is to even set up a usable OS. Resonite is easy entry for the average user, just experience. Exactly. There's just a sunk cost fallacy VRChat has going for it currently. I don't disagree. Because I have a lot of gripes with VRChat. And there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of problems people gloss over about it. Feeling Avi texture UV shape keys is just the entry point. Ooh. Understand what you're doing is an entry point for me. Second, that creating things in VR is so insanely harder than just a flat screen. It's possible, but not that comfy. Well, again, in Resonite, you can use desktop, but I still think they could improve some of the interface options while you're in desktop. I also don't think that it's just one or the other. It's good to have options. I think that in the long run, the VR space is much better off having more options. If it's just VR chat, then we lose out as a community. If it's just Resonate, then we also lose out. Like we do need to have more choices. There we go. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Something I'm excited to try is sculpting in VR. Well, not to resonate a little bit more. Apparently, someone did make a tool to sculpt in Resonate. I don't know any more about than just having heard about it, but I think that would be super cool because then you're just a few steps from having the whole pipeline in VR in real time with your buddies. With your buddies. It's only because I miss sculpting with clay. Hate the texture of it, lol. It's the tism. For me, at least. Now, making the world for VRC and making props and objects taking forever. Making moving stairways took me 6 hours. Where's finished map? The tism is strong. Yeah, again, I'm just saying, if next time we could have this conversation about Resonite, we'll all just hop into Resonite and we'll make something together. And then you guys can tell me if it's harder or easier. Because we could literally all do that. And we would have a finished map together. And again, like just the prospect of going into VR and literally making the world as we're hanging out, like that, there is so much potential there beyond just the scope of what a video game has to offer, what a normal video game has to offer. Maybe you find some kind of proto MMO with rigid scaling for user content creation content, and I could see expanding in that lucrative normie space. That's just agreed to, you could start that. Step 1, find friends who want to help. I have friends, but they're scary about Blender. My Blender on Steam has first tags psychological horror. Funny. I guess I want these to snap to this. Not a joke. I mean, it's funny either way, though. Those like the community tags. Right, pretty cool. I think we can make this spike a little bit bigger. Excuse me. The head's a little big, perhaps. The legs feel a little small. What type of Gundam is it? It's a plane Gundam? Or sorry, that's not a Gundam. Technically a Transformer, like a Optimus Prime. Optimus Prime. I believe it. I spent a good portion of my day yesterday sculpting toe beans, and that was it. I feel like I just left the funhouse at a state fair. Really, game creation one of those things that you just tip your toe in and either never again or find yourself 8 years later still going down the Marina Trench, just not for well-adjusted people. I like my favorite phrase, my favorite saying. You can teach someone to fish, or you can teach someone to make games, and they'll be happy for a day. Or you let someone play a game, they'll be happy for a day. If you teach someone to make games, they'll never be happy again. That's why video games are made sometimes with 9,000 people. 9,000. Gotta be a little nuts to be so dedicated to their craft. Yeah, yeah, I do think so. I would agree with that sentiment. All right. I do have to run to the restroom. I will be right back. 1 moment. And back. Work in the morning. Imagine Sam modeling making streams in different house. I'll use the cat couch as reference to where he is. It's not a black couch. Sure feels like it. Funny. Now select all, press H on keyboard. Oh. Excuse me. I've returned. Okay. So we're going to work on this character for another 15 minutes. Oh, excuse me. I'm going to switch over to the pony character. We're getting pretty close to done. Sorry to burp so much. I'm going to take this section here. Actually, no. Yeah, it should be there. I like that. I think that's fine. Why did I cut this? Bam. 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 Something like that. You know, it is a little bit off to the side. Never mind. Now, myself, press H myself. My plan today is make a fountain connected with a pool, maybe statue pool surrounded by bushes. But all the time, I promise scale. Well, good luck. Definitely just reference image, you know. Reference an image. Put a little character in. That always helps. Say the pony character, when? Remember the old dev saying, one bed a day keeps the grass away. We'll be working on the character in just a moment. 15 minutes. There we go. Wood, yes. Yes, wood. Take the local view. Hello, Kabar. Welcome. Have a nice day. Same to you, Australia. Looking pretty dope. So it looks like the back does have this kind of like fuselage section. I think that's what the red is supposed to indicate. I'm clicking. I'm clicking. Something like that to start. Come on a bit, thee. There we go. A little bit of a butt. And just a little. Robo butt. Very important. Very important. Transformers. Transformers. Optimus Prime. All right. Good stuff. Marching ever closer to finished. Still a while away, though. Whew. I think we'll be done with all the modeling. Probably tomorrow for this character. Not sure what that was that I just took. Okay. Some sort of fuselage thing right there. I think it should end a little bit below. Cool. That looks good. Plane. Is it attached to the fuselage portion or the wing portion? I don't know. I'm not a plane modeler. All right, let's add a mirror mod. I guess I am now. This should actually be closed. Cool. Something like that. All right. So it got this interesting shape. right on the face. Okay. No way to kill two birds, make entry-level tuts for Resonite. Promote your Avies and make people interested in learning about Rezo. Plus, the devs might start to sponsor you. Become big. I like that idea. I do think there's a lot of win-wins with it because my my plan of action is to try. No, is to sorry, one second. Is to do D&D in Resonite, like I've been saying. But I think there's a lot of really fun aspects about that because I can make avatars, and then people might want my avatars, but also just showing people how to play D&D in there is a good like entry point for a way to have fun immediately while still learning kind of like the interesting ways you can use Resonite. So I think I do think there's a lot of wins, a lot of wins, triple wins, quadruple wins. I don't know about quadruple wins. An untapped market is what I actually mean. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, yawning. Haven't decided if we're gonna make eyelashes or not. Cool. All right. Righty. Is it so? Why is it smoothed the other way? Is that the bevel doing that? Grease. Just one more. There. Cool. All right, 10:07. Time to switch gears once again. We're gonna switch over to Pony Avatar. I can type. There we go. All right. So we have those. We can send the screenshots to the client. You be looking mighty good though. Thank you. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I think it'll be fun to get everything polished up. Super close. Super, super close. And then we'll do Alyssa. It's time to get her baked. Time to get her baked. Just look at good chick. Tad longer at the bottom. A bit closer to her knees. Oh yeah. Let's see. That's easy enough to do. We'll just do that after once we've baked everything. It's really not going to look too much different there. Okay. Now for our the mouth of the high poly. It looks great. It looks very good. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. All right, yeah, let's start baking the body. For the high poly scales on the neck, I don't think we want those there. We're not going to bake those that way. I don't think we have claws on the head. Let me double check. Those feathers nodes as well. They are. They are indeed, along with these scales here. Yes, though. Probably should have waited to double check there. At what point you change the nodes to mesh? You make the UVs and textures because then there's no going back, right? Exactly. Though the geometry nodes does have the ability to unwrap UVs. So there are a lot of options for making those changes. So I have to adjust that. So technically you could have a pipeline where you just, because once you export it, it's going to mesh it there. But most of the time I do need to, when I'm making the low poly version, I'm not using geometry nodes by that point. That'll get a little challenging. All right, so there's the high poly. We do have claws on the fingers. With those. All right. Looks pretty good. I'm going to just extrude the base in so that there is actually something clipping in there. Mm. Hello, Bochitita. Welcome. You observe space with the eyelashes claws in the previous UV maps. It seems you always find space even though you go back and forward, lol. Yeah, I don't try to fill up everything fully. I usually do leave a little bit of space. But if I have to rearrange, it's not too bad. It's usually not too bad. That should work okay. All right. So now we got the claw for the high poly. Ooh. Hey there, Yoshi. Oh, my eyeball. On VR chat right now. I'm about to go troll. About to troll City 10. Oh, goodness. Whew. Sorry, I had a burp there. I could feel it building. Well, enjoy your shenanigans. Bye. Hello, Chinua. Welcome. Shenanigans. Anyone here ever seen what's it called? Moulin Rouge? That's such a good movie. Did I watch Burlesque? Well, it's got a bit of that as well. We don't want the fingers to be too crazy developed because it's supposed to be a stylized character. We just need a bit of, just a little bit, so it doesn't look plasticky. Or like it melted or something. wrong way. All right, that'll look a bit better. So for the low poly, we're going to take, we already have the claw there. So take all these other claws, duplicate, and send to low poly. Then in the low poly, like one more collection, which we'll call non-bake. We'll put that right below low poly. And then we're going to take all but one and put that into non-bake. This one here, interesting. I guess we would want to at least send that to non-bake, and then this one will apply the first mirror, take this and separate, or no, take that back. Which mirror did I apply? It goes to non-bake. This one goes to apply that one. Yes. Reason to not bake claw being they're okay with just low poly. So I'm going to have the claws share the UV map. So they're already mapped. They're all mapped to the same exact spot. Oh, that's a little messy there. Looks like it needs to be redone actually. But they're all mapped to the same exact spot. I just want to bake the normals for one, and then the body is what will have the shadow. So I'm just trying to save a bit of space on my map. My map. I think I'll put them over here. But I don't know, this is perfect for it. Maybe right here. Where'd my bean pad go? Oh, where'd it go? There it is. If I didn't make an independent clause now, of course you just make one, then copy paste times 10 so they can be bigger, more detailed since they're all basically the same. In an ideal world, you have every single separate claw separate on your UV map. For video games, you're just looking for those optimizations. But in an ideal world, you'd be fine doing it that way. We'll apply this, apply that, apply this, and then unwrap again. And that's fine. I guess I could make it square. There's no need for that. And it shrank it. This should not have a top. No need for that. Picnic basket. We'll keep the top for now. And then we'll just do classic box unwrap. What you making? Hello, Dragon Wolf. We are working on a chimera character. So it's like a kind of a pony style character with mixed with a snake. I think some other stuff too, but snake, wings, what else? Something like that. So right now we're getting the everything mapped, all the items mapped onto UV space here, because we're just about to start texturing. Hate how much I realize how bad at optimization I am the more I watch. Optimizations is really hard. There's just a lot. And like this is just the start of what you could do optimizing. There's no end to it. No end. No end in sight. Maybe I gotta put it in the ear. That'd be funny. I think it's just fine. Might be a little low res. That's it. That is the spot. That is the spot. Okay, so for adjusting the UV by hand, when do you add the colorful texture grid to measure grading? It's already on there. It's already on there. I'm not too worried about these because I don't want to move anything else. These are kind of more final details, so I'm not super worried about making them perfect. And they're pretty good. We got some good resolution. It's about the same. It's about the same. Especially because they're smaller. So I feel a little more confident in just jumping in and knowing they're going to be in the right size because they're small. Good. Where did I just... Okay. So now I can separate my loose parts. They have the same map. And then this one. Go ahead and apply that one. Separate by loose parts. So we'll take all these. Actually, now I can go ahead and just go make single user object data. These are all mapped now. Select them all and make sure we set them to transform 0. So when I set them back, they go to the right spot. And transformation. Good. I think we're on the right track now. All right. So now, if I want to separate these ones as well, I'm going to go into here and set this to random color so I can see what is connected. These are still merged. So I'm going to apply this one, tab A, P, separate by loose parts. Actually, no, we're in the final stages. I'm going to go ahead and just apply that subdivision. Oh. 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 Then apply the first mirror and separate by loose parts. Okay. Now they're each separate little objects. Okay. The toe's insanely more high res than the rest of the foot there. Not particularly. The toes get a little low res. This is the opposite. So the toes are getting low res, and the beans are high res, or the foot is high res. Okay. So now, high poly body. All right. So here's what we'll do. We'll take all of these. And send these to the non-big. So I don't need them. I'm going to save the position at 0 for all of these. I'm going to turn on the high poly as well. Actually, setting everything to 0. This could be set to scales. I don't need this in here. Or the material. All right. So what we'll do is at frame 0, save the keyframe. Frame 1, I'm going to take one of these and these, and duplicate them, move them out, and save the position. Okay. Then with the low poly, I need to bring back the other one. So non-big should have been the far right one. Okay. So it should have been This one stays in the low poly. And this one should have gone to the non-bake. Oh, the beanie weenies. Looked. Oh, so now non-bake. Back to high poly. Take these one, and then notice I am deselecting the high poly, reselecting it. Ah, cool. So now we're separating them to bake. Good. And we're just going to do the same with the claw. In this case, since then beanies and claws are just the same single one, just got to import one to substance, right? Exactly. Exactly. Though in the high poly, I will keep all of them because I want the shadow on the body. And they're basically baking. The normals are baking out here, but the body will get the ambient occlusion baked on where they're touching. Okay. I messed up because the low poly, these ones have not been set to 0 yet. Okay. A few more steps. High poly. There we go. All right. That'd be the same for the teeth. You could do the same for the teeth, but for the teeth, I do prefer to have them separate because I want I want them to have a difference in the shadowing for how far back they are in the mouth. Further in the mouth, back in the mouth, more shadowing they should have versus the front. So they're going to have a difference. It's you'll I want the mouth shadow to be really accurate. Shadow. What a name. Um, the mouth shadow. Boom. And boom. There we go. Why do they need shadowing? Wouldn't the engine handle that? I guess VRC cannot handle that. Lighting in almost all video games actually really sucks. And VRChat is no exception, because Unity is no exception, really. Lumen has spoiled me. Lumen's pretty good, but even then you could still get light leaking. So a lot of times you rely on your ambient occlusion map to prevent that leakage. Especially in Unity, the light, you could still get a reflection on the inside of the mouth from the sunlight. Or you could still get it lit, even though it shouldn't be. So I use an ambient occlusion map to darken it manually. And even then, like imagine you have like a toon character, like a character that wouldn't even be affected by the lighting that they're in. You'd probably still want to add a shadow in the mouth just because it's going to look better. And that's like realist. We expect that. A lot of the times. For the high poly. Go ahead and everything's set to 0. Well, actually, yeah. Okay, perfect. Eyelash/eyebrows, the thing I always forget and always comes back to bite me. This is definitely my preferred method for baking a lot of the smaller objects. Is basically just involves getting them out of the mouth. Though I do have to redo the teeth; they're not ready to bake. Excuse me. All right. Thank you, Nailers. All right. So now we're going to turn off the high poly because we're going to position all the low poly items correctly. Correctly is not really the right word. I'm going to position it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add a subdivision right there, or right after the mirror. Do teeth/gums even need high poly? I prefer to add them. Really, if you can, you should add high. There you should have high poly because you're just the normals alone. Like when we're looking here, we can see the normals. You can notice the shape of the polygons just by looking at the normals. By baking any sort of normal map, we can smooth that out. So like generally baked normals will always be better than just the normals from the mesh. Ooh, teeth bake is huge, IMO. And especially for details for VR, especially details on the face and the mouth, those tend to be a bit more important than even in standard games. They're already pretty important in standard flat games. All right, and now we're going to actually sculpt these a little bit. Just kind of push and pull them around so we can make sure we're encapsulating all of the twofers. A lot of tries for the teeth alone. It is. It definitely is. I think it's worth it, but that's mostly just up to what you decide. And it always gives me a target later to go back to, knowing that I do have a lot of tries here. So if I ever do need to optimize, it's always a good spot to go back to. Okay, I think what's the best way to do that? Under 35K? No, 70K is the total. 35K was for the body. Hey, Hyper Nova 417. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a good day. Welcome, welcome. I'm doing a bit of sculpting on these teeth right now. Pretty much. It changes per avatar. There's no certainly no set recipe. That's kind of what I'm shooting for usually. Oopsies. What's that? Oopsie poopsie. Something like that looks good. Oh, and then what is that? What is it? Oh, I see it. Created. Okay, fun. Add a cube to a surface. All right, so now in the high poly, good. We don't even have them there yet. Awesome. That is actually what we want. And so here's our exploded version, and here's our clipped version. Floaty, flippy. There we go. Gum teeth separate as well. Yeah, I do separate the everything really. Okay, now that we've done that, we can duplicate these, send these to the high poly. Now we'll look at the high poly here, add in a subdivision, turn that up, copy to selected. Now we got these really sharp normals. All right. And then what we'll also do is actually that should be fine this way. Okay. One more thing to make here. We're going to make a new collection, which we're going to call Bobby Baker. Boom. The face. I'm going to file append. I'm going to go up to Dara, Silver Dragon, Blender, here, node tree, and I want my baker. I'm going to make an object. Add in the geonode baker. We're going to put the body low poly right here, the body high poly right here. We're going to do displace attribute. We're going to change that name to displace. And we'll do the displace amount. We'll start with 0.1 just so it's clear. Actually, 0.5. All right. We'll switch over to the cage. Lock that in. Open up the high poly. Yeah. And make that deselectable. And then we want to take this, look, vertex groups, displace. We do have a displace group. We go ahead and start painting that in. And do it very low weight, very low strength. That's still pretty strong. Okay, let's go back to the baker. And we'll turn it down to 0.25. Maybe just 0.1. Pretty strong still. I'm going to turn down the strength even more. I want to make sure. That's what it is. I didn't have pressure on my strength. Man, that feels weird. All right, beautiful. The step confused me so much. Gotta look more on tuts because this looks so critical. Love the head. It's always struggle getting the side cheeks to look right from the side and front. It took me a while on this one. I had to redo my sculpt. So what we're making right now, you don't need the geonode setup for this. You could just use a displace modifier. I just love geonodes. But what we're making is the cage, and this determines where we're sampling from. But it's just important your cage and your low poly, or the object you're baking to, have the same UVs. Vital. If they don't, then it's not going to work. Or you're going to get a weird air. But we're making the cage. That's the gist of it. The long and short of it, if you will. Excuse me. All right. The cage is not the high poly, right? Is a third copy of the low poly mesh. Well, you have just your low poly and your cage, and then the high poly. But it is it's the third thing you add to your baking setup. Man, it's really strong. Should be working on the displace right now. Eyeballs are good. Okay, I think we're good. All right, so now I can turn off my main collections. We're just looking at this baker. We're going to call it body baker. Okay, and with the power of geonodes, we have put everything together. We can swap between them because I'm lazy and I don't want to just turn collections on and off the whole time. So I'll make a folder called bakes. And in here, we'll do Alyssa or Ren underscore body. And we'll set this to Substance Painter v2 export. That was actually the cage we just exported, so another cage. The 0 will be this one, actual main low poly. And then finally, the high poly. Excuse me. I've been so burpy these last few days. All right, open up Substance. So we got the high poly body, okay. And then we'll save it. Right here. Substance Painter, Alyssa underscore body underscore v1. Save that there. Then mode bake. High poly. And then use a cage. So just to give you a more practical example of the cage. So a cage is always made from your mesh. There's always a cage. You're just deciding whether you want Substance to make you a cage or use a custom cage. But basically it takes your original mesh because you need to have the same UVs and it expands it, displaces it. Because this outside area right here, that is where the sample starts. So when it's sampling your mesh, it starts a sample somewhere on the cage surface. And then it shoots a ray out at the high poly and goes, hey, what's there? And then so it samples that and then saves it to your baked texture. But the cage allows you to prevent stuff like this, where you've got this weird displacement here, because you need a different amount of displacement on different parts of the body. Otherwise, you can fix it in one spot and then break it in other spots. So you want a cage so that your displacement is different in different areas. And so when I use my cage here, you can see it fits pretty well with a little bit of spots missing. But did you import the cage from Blender to Substance together with the low poly? Nope, they're all just separate meshes. That's what I'm exporting. Well, I guess I could load it here. See, I have my body, my cage, and my high poly. Those are all 3 separate objects. And I don't use bridges. I don't use bridge software. There really aren't that many bridge softwares. I think you've mentioned that a few times, but very rarely are there bridge softwares between things. Almost always it lets you do it yourself. But it looks like we do need to tweak a few things. So right here on the thumb, I saw a lot of that. I don't see much of it here though, but just in case, we'll hit it a few times. Oh, that's too much. And then right on the hip. And then on the ear. And then where else? That's pretty good. Okay. And it automatically updates. Still missing a spot right there. Okay, so I think that actually on our low poly mesh, I'm actually going to go ahead and triangulate that spot. So that would be this one. All right, gorgeous, powerful, beautiful. Save. Switch this to 4K. Apply diffusion. Bake. We're getting some errors. Looks like the teeth UV map has been flipped. So we'll go back to... Did you import the cage mesh from Blender? Oh, wait, did I read that already? Yeah, I think I did. It is time. Time for baking. Baking time. Now, I guess we'll take this opportunity to also throw on a triangulate modifier set to beauty. I don't really feel the need for that. I know it's using the fixed alternate, and I've never really had any problems with that, so good there. We're getting 4K maps in Substance, but the maps in Blender are 2K. Unity is where the maps will finally end up, and I usually keep them at 2K. You get higher quality maps when you downscale. So you take a higher res image and you shrink it. It's better than just baking just at that final resolution. A little bit cleaner looking. All right, so the UV maps here, I swear I turned this off, but it looked to me like they were flipping. Yes, they are flipping. They should not be. You're working in 4K to downsize and UV. Why the ah? Ah, as in it's coming together like a eureka moment. And then baking. Yeah, this is just the low poly. Yeah, reset the UV maps. Boom, boom. And then reset the cage. So, there. Okay, that should fix this little garter belt looking issue. Save. Good, good. Damn it. Still have that issue there. That is the claw. The claw. Reason that's on all of the base objects. I have to go fix that on my body template. I actually think I should have been able to visualize if there are any issues here just by going into the wireframe or something. Okay, that all looks good now. Save. And mode, bake mesh maps. Shift Control R. Bake again. That should be good. I think we'll have to rebake one more time, or at least rebake the ID map. So I think we're missing that. All right, go there. Bam. This is our base color. I'll turn down the roughness to 0. And it should be kind of a gray. There we go. Things are starting to come together now. Got our scales on the legs. They look quite good. Feet are a little crunched. Bean looks good. The mouth, oh, I didn't even go in and fix the cage on the mouth, so no surprise there that that's destroyed. Everything else is looking pretty good, though. Pretty good. So, a few things to fix. Back to the high poly. Look at the actual materials here. The object here, scale, needs a material. And we'll just set it to something like bright red. Then the body here, make a new one. Get rid of that. Move. And I think we'll do bright blue. Orange. Scales look great. Thank you, Nambers. Any advice on baking parameters on substance to not get any shadows on tight corners in between toes, crotch, underboob, things like that? That is a very tough thing to fix. Your cage is really your primary answer to that. Yeah, you're really looking to have your cage solve as much of that as you can. And then your next solution is actually to, we don't need that. That should be good. Is sometimes I will bake a separate version. Well, you can extract your baked maps and remove details from them. So if I remove the textures here, and then I add them as a layer, I can edit them manually. So you can always paint out things you don't need that way. What else did I need to change? Oh, let's look at the foot. Ooh, excuse me. Hopefully that'll pull some tension out of the body there. Improve some of the baking. So for the baker, what are we on right now? We are on the low poly. And then the cage. Ooh. Save. And what's funny is the anti-aliasing option here, when I was talking about the downsampling, anti-aliasing, when you're baking, all it does is it bakes it at double the resolution and then scales it back down. They don't have some like fancy algorithm or anything like that. It just samples it bigger. That's why it's called super sampling. Just doubles the sampling by increasing the resolution. And then it bakes back down. Those look a little bit better. I might move this down. Yeah. I do really like the little shadow in the eyelashes. I think that looks pretty good. But now, because we went and made different colors, we can go ahead and start popping them out. We'll do eyes and grab this here. Set it to white, roughness maximum. And then we'll just duplicate this. Black. Do it eyebrows. Ah, actually, there are no eyebrows, but that's okay. This will be the opposite. No roughness. Black. Then I do have a mouth template. I'll just drop that right there. Select these. Get the tongue and get the supers. Beautiful. All right. Then lastly, I think the second to last one, the claws. Oh, I dragged out the same template. I think they're white. We'll start with this. That. And then we've got the beans, which will be like a dark gray. We'll use a color selection for this one. Boom. This one had a mirror on it. Darn. And then lastly, the scales, which will add a color selection and select right there. See, this kind of selection is impossible without using an ID mask. You just actually would not be able to do that. I'm going to use a little filter on it, a little blur, just to alias it a little bit. Cool. And I think they're green. So, whoa. Damn, that's super green. Like that. Some roughness, metallic. Oh yeah, that looks really good. We're actually going to take this as well and drop an anchor point in here. Do something on top here. Take this, fill, anchor point scales. Do another little filter on it, like a bevel, blur, set to inverse subtract. That way, we can make a little shadow for it. Just make them pop a little bit. So for the body, the base body, I will turn up the roughness just a little. Nothing completely dark. I think a 0.75 is good. Okay. And then what? We need some shadowing. So we're going to go to the base, or above the base. We'll do another thing. We'll call this base body world space shadow. And we'll do it on generator, world space. We'll set it to multiply. And top to bottom, I would like to invert. Actually, I don't care about that. I want to do right to left first. So this kind of gives me the sides of things. It masks the sides, which is pretty, it's an interesting thing. Interesting thing to do because we kind of push the shadow a little bit more to the sides. Something like that. Turn down the contrast a little. And then duplicate this. Go back to that right to left and invert it. So now we have both. We have a shadow on the left and right. And looks okay. Looks okay. But it does give our eye a little bit of form to pay attention to. Helps us understand the roundness of the body. Editing baked maps still hurts my brain, Lamau. They give you a lot to work with, which is fun. It is a little weird though. You do need a bit of understanding of like shaders. In fact, I'm going to get rid of this. We're going to redo that. I'm going to do a generator. This time we're going to do that again, world space. And not top to bottom, but front to back. Yeah, that's a little bit more like what I want. Turn up the contrast a little. No, turn down the balance. Invert it. And then I think this is almost the same thing. Almost. Or would I wouldn't want linear dodge, I would want subtract. Let me try that again. This one, balance there. Duplicate, set it to subtract. And then invert it. Please. Inverse, subtract. Or no, multiply. That's what it is. There we go. Okay. My balance here. There. Well, up to this point, I work in substance, but I'm realizing that for baking text, I'm still too green. Baking is just information that's useful to work with. So you can take a lot of things from your bake and then just kind of slap them together to do interesting effects. Fudge. Okay. Try that again. So I guess I do want this to be inverted. Top and bottom. It's so strong. It's not really nice. I was doing this last time, or on a different character. Why is I'm having so much trouble this time? There we go. Okay, that's basically what I wanted right there. So science soids. Hmm. It's because the blending is so strong. I don't know if we're going to go with that. Looks pretty bad. IMO. Hello, Snardom. Welcome. But I do like this one. We have a blending mode here as well. Funny. New Avi. This is one we've been kind of working on off and on for a little while now. Kind of coming back to, we're trying to spend a little bit of time on each one every day. Each of my current, in my current queue. But hello, how are you doing? Life is good. Life is good. Just chilling right now, working hard. How about yourself? How goes classes? Then we're going to do one more of these. This will be scale normal dot. Then we're going to add a generator. And we're going to use the same one, but we're going to swap out the normal map for our usual normal map, standard one. And instead of top to bottom, we're going to do front to back. And just balance. Oh, and then I guess we'll do levels on top of this to really cinch it. Cool. Stressed with classes, creating new content for next semester, but just got word today that maybe I can visit Blender conference. Hey, let's go. Deductible, of course. That would be awesome. That would be super cool. I'm a little jelly. Just mildly jelly. That would be super fun, though. I hope you have a blast. Beautiful. Beautiful. Looking to get any tickets, see if school still wants to foot the bill when I present them the estimate. Still, that is super cool. I do hope you're able to go. Need a blur for my blur. Drawer Moshi Lipkin. What the hell is that stream? Character creation, bruh. Been on a roll with scaly creatures recently, haven't you? Looking good. Thank you. I have been working on a lot of scales. Just super funny. I don't know how it ended up that way. But I can't complain. It's fun. I think we'll need to adjust the cage for the mouth because that's broken. We will also be going on lunch very soon. Another 20 minutes, and then it'll be lunchtime. Ooh. Balanced. Why is the tip of them beans giving you a dark shadow without any mesh there? It's about the high poly. So all the maps come from trying to capture what's with the low poly. So the high poly, or what's on the high poly. The high poly has claws there, while the low poly does not. My stylus broke 3 weeks ago and ordered a new one. Supposed to come today after 2 weeks, but the mailman missed me when I was at the vet, so I bought No Man's Sculpt on iPad to sculpt. I think sculpting on iPad is super fun. It's very fun. Although you worked with a 3D printing site, maybe people will print that. I've had a few people commission me for 3D print stuff. Mostly focus on digital work, though. All my commissions come from Vrchat at the moment. Did you know that Minecraft animations has a lot of views? I'm not surprised. I mean, I think you could do Minecraft machinima and Vrchat and probably make a shit ton of money on YouTube. Machinima. What a funny word. All right, that should work. Let's go to bake. Okay, I don't see anything poking through now. That should work super well. Awesome. A little bit of crunchiness on the lip there. That might be my UV map, though. Linkin Park music. It's vital for the algorithm. Yeah, we're getting some stretching there. Take. That is crunchy. Hmm. Ah, okay. Excuse me. Whew. Damn. So I think I messed up my map right here. It should have been like this, where this one was up top, then this one. I don't need to do that. Boom, 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 and then like this. And a little bit more accurate. Oh, thank you. And then I think just move it up right there. That's not stretching. And distribute. And then just, oops. All right, that does look pretty good actually. Okay, let's try that again. So, boom, boom. This one is the cage. And then the body. I want to do monetizable YouTube content like that above, but I never get around the to do part. Feels great, man. I mean, uh, you should. I feel like there are a lot of things that I've thought of that I feel like, hey, maybe I could make money that, but it's not in that category. It's not still in that other subcategory of stuff that actually motivates me. You really have to find something that sits in between the two. Something you make money with, and something that you actually are excited for. Because, you know, or at least that's how I try to approach it. Because if I'm not actually that interested in it, then it does get really rough to work on it. You know, you can do it for maybe a week or two, and then after that, you're like, man, I do not enjoy this. To get a little more manual adjusting these ones, I think. So I really don't want to, because of the way the mesh curves, it really doesn't want to expand. Let's try something else. We'll do Alt P and this section right here. What we'll do a little weird, but I think that will get the resolution we need in there here. Maybe that's too much. We're about to find out. Looks good. Yeah. We can make the lips look soft. The victory. That is a victory. Yeah, yeah. All right, 11:52. Ooh. I think it's time. We're gonna go on lunch. Just a little bit early. I gotta go get some rest in. I gotta go get a run in, food in, and then rest in that order. And then we'll do the second stream. So if anyone's new here, we do break our day up into 2 streams. We're gonna be back very soon for that second one. It's about 2 hours. And when we get back, we're gonna work on our third avatar, which is a dragon man. Not Trogdor, but a dragon man. So get excited for that. I think we'll work on him for 2 hours, and then we'll probably come back to this avatar. So I'm hoping I can have this avatar done by Thursday. So I think we're a little closer to finish with this one. Good stuff. Enjoy lunch, and I'll catch you later sometime. Sounds good, Stardom. We'll catch you later. Have a nice break. Thank you, Arctic. Thank you all. Thank you, chat. Thank you for hanging out with me. Definitely wishing you all a fantastic Tuesday, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Bye, everyone. And if you want a commission, samdetter.com, or a mentorship or learning how to make avatars, again, samdetter.com or samdetter@gmail.com. Reach out to me. Good lunch. Thank you. Thank you, Eventide. Catch you all soon. Bye, everyone. Bye. Bye, Nammers. Bye.